Archaeologists and historians have unearthed a great deal of information about ancient Egypt in recent years. However, none of this information has been quite as shocking as the finding of a forbidden tomb, which stunned the entire world. A group of scientists and archaeologists working together made the discovery of this tomb in 2018, and it is situated in the Valley of the Kings in Luxor. Inside, they discovered a plethora of treasures, some of which included well-preserved mummies, ancient relics, and gold jewelry. However, the discovery of a previously unknown pharaoh, together with evidence of a probable cover-up by the ancient Egyptian government, was the event that truly startled the globe. Stay tuned as we cast light on these surprising findings in this video. A group of archaeologists from the University of Basel in Switzerland was responsible for the discovery of the tomb, which was later given the designation KV65. In the beginning, people thought that it was a modest tomb that belonged to a less important member of the royal family. However, after the team started excavating the tomb, they immediately found that it was much more significant than they had initially imagined. The team entered the tomb and discovered the skeletal remains of at least 3 mummies, together with a vast amount of valuable artifacts. Gold jewelry, such as earrings, necklaces, and bracelets were found among the relics, in addition to pottery and various other objects that are used in the home. However, the finding of a pharaoh that had never been known before caused the greatest shock throughout the world. During the Second Intermediate Period of Egypt, also known as the Middle Kingdom, a king by the name of Wosoribra Senepkhe controlled the country. This time period spans approximately 1650 BCE to 1550 BCE. He was a monarch who had never been heard of before, and there was no evidence of his existence in any of the historical records that were available. This leads one to believe that he was a relatively insignificant pharaoh who only ruled over a modest portion of Egypt, and was afterwards lost to history. Even more surprising is the fact that the evidence that was discovered in the tomb reveals that Senepkhe was not merely forgotten by history, but was also purposefully removed from it. The crew discovered indications that his tomb had been defiled on purpose, and that his name and image had been taken from a number of the artifacts that were discovered inside. This shows that his reign was regarded illegitimate by the governing class, who may have attempted to eradicate any record of his existence as a result of this evidence. Many questions regarding the political climate of ancient Egypt have been brought to light as a result of the uncovering of Senepkhe's tomb, and the evidence pointing to the possibility of a cover-up. It gives the impression that the governing class possessed a considerable amount of power and were willing to go to extreme measures in order to keep their grip on that power. It also raises doubts about the number of further forgotten pharaohs and kings that might still be buried in unknown tombs around Egypt. Investigations that have been carried out on the tomb and the objects that have been discovered within it have provided further insight on the political atmosphere of ancient Egypt, as well as the reign of Senepkhe. One of the most important discoveries was a mummy that was positively recognized as Senepkhe himself. This mummy revealed important details about his life and the rule he oversaw. The examination of the mummy, as well as the other objects that were discovered in the tomb, provide evidence that Senepkhe was most likely a regional king who rose to power at a time of political unrest in Egypt. Egypt was fragmented into a number of minor nations, each of which was governed by a different pharaoh. During the Second Intermediate Period, it was a time of enormous upheaval, with frequent combat going on between competing states and little control coming from the center. The tomb of Senepkhe provides evidence of the challenges that were encountered by these lesser powers, as well as the lengths to which they would go in order to maintain their control. The discovery of KV65 and the previously unknown pharaoh Wosoribra Senepkhe has revealed new insights into the religious beliefs and the funerary rituals of the ancient Egyptians, in addition to shedding light on the political climate of ancient Egypt. This find has also provided new information regarding the political climate of ancient Egypt. It is possible that Senepkhe believed in the importance of the afterlife and took great care to ensure a proper burial because the tomb had various objects linked to the afterlife, including a funerary mask and a sarcophagus. This is indicated by the fact that the tomb contained several artifacts related to the hereafter. The finding of KV-65 has also prompted researchers to speculate on the significance of the Valley of the Kings in ancient Egyptian society. The Valley of Kings is a collection of tombs that may be found in Luxor, Egypt. It is situated on the western bank of the Nile River. During the time of the New Kingdom in Egypt, which lasted from around 1550 to 1070 BCE, it was utilized as a burial ground for pharaohs and other members of the royal family. The fact that KV-65 was found raises the possibility that the Valley of the Kings is home to a great number of additional tombs that have not yet been unearthed. It is quite likely that throughout the valley, there are other forgotten pharaohs and rulers buried in unknown tombs waiting to be uncovered by archaeologists and historians. These tombs are spread out across the valley. However, now that KV-65 has been discovered, there are worries regarding whether or not these tombs will be preserved. The tomb has a history of being defaced, and there is evidence to imply that it has also been robbed at some point in the past. This underscores the necessity for improved preservation efforts as well as stronger security measures in order to protect the rich antiques and treasures that are still buried in the Valley of the Kings. The unearthing of KV-65 and the previously unidentified pharaoh, Senibke, has had a considerable influence on the way in which we comprehend ancient Egyptian history. It has enlightened scholars on the political climate, religious beliefs, and funerary practices of ancient Egypt, all of which were previously unknown to them. It has also brought up issues concerning the function of the Valley of the Kings in ancient Egyptian culture, as well as the necessity of improving preservation efforts in order to conserve the priceless tombs and antiquities that are located there. The influence that the discovery of KV-65 and the evidence of a probable cover-up has had both individually and collectively on our knowledge of ancient history is one crucial point of view to take into consideration. It serves as a reminder that history is not always reliable and comprehensive, and that there may be many more forgotten rulers and historical events that have been lost to time. Moreover, it is possible that there are many more forgotten historical occurrences. The finding of KV-65 brings up further problems regarding the function that archaeologists and historians play in the process of uncovering and interpreting historical events. When we continue to investigate and unearth historic sites, we need to make sure that we approach these endeavors with an attitude that is both critical and open-minded. We need to be open to having our preconceived views challenged and be willing to take into account fresh data that may cause us to reevaluate how we understand the past. The effect that the discovery has had on the local population as well as the tourism sector in Luxor is another essential point of view to take into consideration. The Valley of the Kings is already one of the most popular tourist destinations in all of Egypt. But the recent uncovering of the tomb of a previously unidentified pharaoh is likely to result in an increase in the number of tourists that make the journey there. Increased tourism can provide economic benefits to the local community, but it can also put a strain on the environment and the cultural legacy of the area. This can have both positive and negative effects on the community, depending on the circumstances. It is essential to give due consideration to the moral and ethical repercussions that may result from the discovery and excavation of ancient sites. As we unearth additional tombs and artifacts, we need to make sure that we treat them with the appropriate amount of reverence and sensitivity. It is imperative that we keep in mind the historical, cultural, and spiritual significance of these objects and locations while we endeavor to conserve them for future generations. In conclusion, the finding of KV-65 and the hitherto unidentified pharaoh brings into doubt the greater significance of ancient Egypt in the annals of world history. Ancient Egypt was one of the most influential and advanced civilizations of the ancient world. It had a rich cultural history that has had a lasting impact on art, religion, and science. In addition, ancient Egypt was home to some of the world's first known civilizations. The unearthing of new tombs and artifacts enables us to gain a deeper understanding of the intriguing civilization that produced them, as well as offer us a window into that civilization. The finding of KV-65 and the hitherto unidentified pharaoh has brought to light the significance of continuing archaeological research and exploration. There is a great deal more that can be learned about ancient Egypt, and the finding of new tombs and artifacts is critical to advancing our knowledge of this fascinating society. Undoubtedly, as we proceed to investigate and unearth the mysteries of ancient Egypt, we will come across fresh and surprising discoveries that will continue to mold our comprehension of this ancient civilization. What do you think about the discovery of this forbidden tomb and the possible cover-up of the unknown pharaoh? Let us know in the comment section below. And make sure to subscribe to our channel and be the first to know when we post new content.